My name is Janava Sundari. Hare Krishna. I teach yoga since many years and practicing also bhakti yoga, and it's really nice to bring bhakti in whatever we do in life. And one thing that moved me to the understanding of the chakras was when I got severely injured with my knees and lower back, and then started a journey of self-healing, and I discovered the chakras. But the discovery I made about chakras is much more fascinating than what normally people know about it. And I went so much in depth with that, and I'm really understanding that on different layers, and I would like to bring that concept into the leadership. Because I have been, of course, living in different temples, and I have seen the patterns of the leaders, and I have seen how are the community members. And now I can actually see the leaders, and I can recognize exactly what is their problem and where it's coming from. So I was thinking how wonderful it would be to bring this awareness to ISKCON community, because I'm bringing this to my students, and they're having such an incredible benefit. And I was thinking, why to them and not to my family, But devotees sometimes can be a little bit strict and rigid about certain topics, so it's not always easy to bring these concepts. And I'm very grateful that a few hours ago I was given this spot to talk about. So let's see. First of all, the chakra is an energy. It's something that rotates. And according to how it rotates, it's a type of energy that brings to a certain type of balance or imbalance. And sometimes the energy is so much that there is let's look into the cell, okay? Let's just go inside of the cell. And we are seeing the atoms, and then we see the nucleus, and we see the positive and negative atoms going around, the protons and neutrons. So according to how they are rotating, they create an oscillation and vibration. And according to how they vibrate, they create a certain type of dynamic and personality. So if something happened in my life, like for instance, I don't know, like my father was very authoritative towards me, he's sending a type of energy towards me, which is affecting my energy because we are made out of energy, then these cells starts moving in a certain way, and the oscillation that comes out of it brings out a certain type of dynamic as personality. That means that I can have two types of reaction. Actually, to be more precise, I can have three types of reaction. One is when I call it, Hare Krishna. One is when I call it an unbalance per excess. That means there is too much energy. And one other way of reaction is unbalance per defect, where the energy is too low. And the other one is when I have both at the same time, which makes the personality quite interesting and complicated. And trust me, many of our leaders unfortunately have these unbalances. Not only leaders, but also the community members. So when we actually could be able to recognize them, we would be like, oh my God, this person is actually not a bad person. He only has unbalance, this type of unbalance. And if we have time, I would like to teach a technique to fix a chakra in 3 minutes. And it has been tested. And I could even show you how it works with kinesiology tests, which is like a muscle test, which is like amazing how it works. So let's understand that when a leader, for instance, or a community member, Hare Krishna, has the first chakra out of balance, what happens is there can be a sense of insecurity and fear. So when we are talking about surrendering to Krishna, it's very difficult for this person to surrender to Krishna. They will be very much money-oriented. They will be fearful of money. So there is a difference between having an excess or having a defect. So a leader, for instance, who has first chakra out of balance per excess, he will be very greedy. He will be like not wanting to spend, keeping all the money. And also, he will be having material attachments. There is a big thing about material attachment, and it's difficult for this person to work through that. And also, they will be having a kind of like laziness as well, a physical laziness. Not only that, but they have a difficulty to trust others. Have you ever met someone who have difficulty to trust? You are like going to a leader, you are like presenting something, and the person is not trusting you. So it's, it's demotivating for us. And it's interesting because it's actually not coming from the personality of the person, but it's actually coming from an unbalance that the person is receiving inside. And these unbalances can be there for different factors of life that cause that unbalance. I would love to go into detail and tell you which aspects of life bring into which type of unbalance, but it will not be possible with such a short time. If the leader would have the first chakra unbalance per defect, that would mean that he or she might have a sense of insecurity, as if the earth is not under the feet, and there is fear, always involved with fear. And also money he will not be attracting money. Have you ever seen people who are super talented, but for some reason they don't attract abundance? And it's like, why? Why don't I attract abundance? I'm capable, I'm qualified, I studied, but I don't attract abundance. Because energetically what happens is that money just comes and goes, or it just doesn't come. So it's very interesting, even like for a temple management, like the temples who are struggling with the economical situation is because there is a problem with the first chakra. You could actually fix the first chakra and you would be like, oh my God, it's working. So we are taking care of a preaching center. We are running a preaching center, and sometimes we see that the money is shrinking, and it's like, oh my God, people are not coming anymore. What is happening? So we actually do the work on the chakras, and trust me, the next day people come, and we are like, oh my God, it works. It's extraordinary. Why is it working? It's because everything is energy. So if there is a stagnant energy which is not flowing properly, what will happen is that it will not attract the right things in life. Should I close the door? Would that distract less? Yeah. So now let's see what happens, and here it's a hot, difficult topic, when a leader could have a second chakra out of balance per excess. The second chakra, we are talking about the energy center which is related with sexuality and pleasure. If it's in excess, there can be abuse. Only people who have second in excess will abuse sexually, only. Wouldn't it be interesting to actually see which leader has a second in excess, so that we could actually prevent abuse? But second in excess can also lead to emotions, a lot of emotions. Can you relate with women? Women have a lot of emotions. And why do scripture tell you all the time, be careful of women, they're like tigers? It's true, it's not fake. But why is it saying? It's because this energy center is a moon center. It's a female center, which means that 90% of women have that unbalance. That means there is seduction, there is women acting in a way, and men are just completely captivated by that. But trust me, not only women have that, also men. So that's the reason why they say stay away from women, because it's such intoxicating energy. So what happens when a leader has that? Have you seen Men also like acting like peacocks with women, acting like, oh, I'm charismatic leader and all the women are just on feet, we see that. So what happens is that there is a lot of seduction, there is a lot of spending also, and it's also like new iPhone, new car, I need new things, because there is a feeling of constant unsatisfaction inside. And then what happens with the defect, actually, it's interesting that there might be a feeling of guilt inside, and there can also be like a total rejection of anything that is related with sexuality. So this would be leaders who are like denigrating men and women, like, oh, men and women are bad, men are horrible, stay away from that, it's disgusting. And they put rules that would actually separate the community. It doesn't get a feeling of unity, but rather a feeling of separation. And also this feeling of guilt. I don't know if you ever heard the amazing seminar of Mahatma Prabhu on guilt. Sometimes, as devotees, we are repressing so much ourselves that there is so much also feeling of guilt, and this guilt is stagnating us rather than uplifting us. So as a community, we want our members to be uplifting, not like, like a guilt, and bringing the energy really low. And the other problem is that with repression comes a lot of issues, also physical issues. So it's some kind of like energy that we have to understand on how to relate with it. But now I'm going to talk to you about an energy center which is very important for leaders. This is the leading chakra for leaders. So this is the third chakra, and why am I saying that is because it's a very masculine energy center. That means that a good 90% of men have this unbalance. Let's see what happens when you have this chakra out of balance per excess. When there is too much excess, the person will manifest a feeling of being very authoritative. He is demanding, I am right, I know what is the right thing to do, and I want every one of you to follow me. Have you ever seen a temple president, a leader who has this authoritative way of doing, right? Yes. So it's someone who is very ego-centered. Ego-centered means that the ego is very high, and our scriptures are constantly telling us about how important it is to keep our ego low. So they are actually not telling us, yes, be authoritative, manipulate people and demand. Let's all please chant the Mahamantra for Maharaj. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Pataka Swami Maharaj ki.
Please don't block the doorway. Move. Other devotees might come, close the door.
So we are talking about the chakra system, how it's affecting the leadership position and the community. So we arrived to this center, and we are talking that this is a very predominantly male characteristic. What does it mean? That if there is an excess of energy in this energy center, there will be a lot of authority. The leader will be like, you have to do it like this. I am right. And because they believe that, they are willing to even manipulate others in order to reach to whatever they want to reach. And they have such an ego that they cannot see others. And if somebody corrects them, that's impossible for them to hold it. They struggle with it. Because this energy is like so much heat, and the fire is like almost uncontrollable, so difficult to control it. So this excess of energy brings the person to manipulate and to anger. How does it feel to us when we see some leaders getting angry? We feel a little bit like it's off. And also these people, fortunately, they are very organized. And if they want to achieve a goal, they go for it, and it doesn't matter who they have to, push on the side to reach the goal. And that's the reason why in politics and leadership, most of the people have the unbalance of the third chakra in excess. But how bad can that be for the community? And if somebody from the community is having a third chakra out of balance per excess, what will happen? Fire plus fire. There will be like fights. So one of the main reasons of fighting in our community is this unbalance per excess.
Sorry, you missed a few points in the beginning.
Yes.
Can you please explain what is third chakra?
Yes. So we have different energy centers within ourselves. And because we are made out of energy, like if you see our cell is made out of atoms, and the atoms are made out of energies. So according to this energy, how they work, if things happen in life and there is too much energy or too little energy, it will unbalance your whole system. So we are seeing now, according to the energy that we are, what will happen to us if there is an unbalance to personality, and we want to understand our anarthas. And these anarthas will affect the community and the leadership. So what I would like to present is how to understand our leaders, our communities, and how to fix all this. And I can show you a technique to fix one chakra in 3 minutes. Yes. So, let's see what happens to the third chakra when it's out of balance per defect. When it's out of balance per defect, it brings to low self-esteem. Have you ever seen someone with low self-esteem? Yes? Oh, I cannot do this. I'm not worth it. Oh, Prabhu, I'm so humbled that, I'm not capable of doing this. I'm not qualified. But let's be careful. There is a difference between low self-esteem and humility. Humility is power, it's strength, it's perfection. Low self-esteem is a problem, it's an imbalance. So what happens when there is an unbalance per defect is that people holding grudges, they cannot let go of situations. So that devotee, 10 years ago he did this to me, and I still, holding this. Or yesterday he said this to me, and I'm, thinking about it, I cannot let go. Why? Why can't we let go of things? It's because energetically we are making the energy stagnant. So we are holding things inside. Imagine that somebody does something to you, and you are like, oh, okay, I let go. How nice would that be to let go like this? How would be the community? How would be the leadership positions? And this is actually possible just by changing the energy. It's incredible to see it. And I'm actually not just talking about theory, but I'm actually talking about practical ways that we did this. We are experimenting this with hundreds of people. And people are having such an incredible transformation. And why not bring this to our community? So this is the purpose. And also when there is third in defect, the person has a lot of difficulty to finish what they start. How frustrating is it that devotees start a project and they don't finish it? It's not because they're bad, it's because the energy is not helping them to do that. There is obstacles all over coming and they cannot finish what they are starting. And also, so it's tiredness. They are tired. How do you feel? Tired. Oh, I didn't sleep well. I ate too much. I did this, I did that, I'm tired. But actually, you could sleep 2 hours and be completely fresh. You could eat tons of prasadam and be completely fresh if you were balanced. You could be sleeping perfectly, eating perfectly, and still be tired if your third chakra is out of balance. So we understand that if you work on the energy level, everything else that is outside will work accordingly. So now let's come to the heart. So many devotees have heart in excess in our movement, which is sweet, but it's not balanced. Excess means that we want to give, our heart is like wide open and we are giving, sacrificing our whole self, but with ego. That means that we are actually expecting something in return. We want people to recognize us. We want people to listen to us. There's kind of like a little bit of narcissism. Oh, I'm so great. Look at this amount of service that I'm doing. And people love me so much. And I'm doing this to be loved. There is a hole in my heart. And people are actually giving me, but it's never fulfilled. So I'm giving because I want something back. And also there is too much attachment in relationships. So sometimes, we see this in communities, attachment towards the partners, attachment to, and I'm talking about relationship in the heart area. And we know that attachment is not something healthy. But if we see the defect, these people are cold. They are actually very detached, but it's not the detachment talking to us by the scripture. It's a different type of detachment. It's a detachment coming from coldness. These people, when you go and talk to them, you can see it, like they are very rigid, they are not empathic. And we need empathy, but at the same time, the excess has empathy, but too much. What does it mean? That if she talks to me about a problem, I start, oh my God, that's so bad. Oh, I'm feeling bad, and then I go home. Oh my God, that happened to her. That's so horrible. That's so horrible. How can I do that? And it's like, that's her problem. It's not my problem. So that means we are taking the problems of other people on us, and we don't need to do that. We already have ours. We can listen, of course, we have to be empathic, but we don't have to take the problems of other people on us. That would become a problematic problem.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Jai Pataka Swami Maharaj ki. It's not easy to talk when
You did well. You did really well.
Let's come to the throat. Oh, let's stay a little bit on the heart. On the heart, when there is a defect, there is a tendency to have sadness. Have you ever seen sad devotees? Yes, we can open for ventilation. Yes, should we open? Maybe there's kirtan. Yes. Have you ever seen sad devotees chant and be happy? Yes? And it's like, hey, there's something wrong in it. But it's not the process. The process is perfect. And it's so interesting because I'm actually analyzing the process through the chakra system. And I'm more and more understanding how Prabhupada was a genius. Our acharyas, they're amazing. Everything is so perfect. If we do the process, will bring us to perfection. There's no doubt about that. But if we also know how to use the energies according to that, it's just like health. If we're healthy, we can practice better. So it's about, energetic health. It's not about changing something in our practice. It's just energetic health. And our spiritual practice becomes so much easier. So much easier. Imagine that your partner leaves you, like your husband or wife leaves you, and you are sad. How long do you want to be sad for? Why would we, destroy our relationship with Krishna for mundane relationships? Doesn't make sense. Or, our daughter, or our dog, or the temple president, he didn't, appreciate me. All these are affecting us only and only because we have imbalances within ourselves. If we don't, they don't affect us. It's beautiful. Or it can affect us for a little bit. Let it go. We don't have to hold on to it. So let's see the throat. Throat is so important for leaders and the community, so important. Because if there is too much energy, what happens is that there is an excessive amount of talking and too little of listening. So I can ask hey, how do you feel? And she start talking to me and I'm going on my phone, or hey, that's how I feel exactly, or let me tell you about my experience. And it's but you're not listening to me, you're not taking care of me, you're not loving me. So one thing that happens is interrupting. The other thing that happens is talking too much. Or, do you know what it means, stream of consciousness? It's a way of talking when you go from one subject to the other, 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 and you are what is he talking about? Wait. Okay, now he's talking about this. Oh no, this. And it's so hard to stay behind it. So imagine actually a leader could actually talk to the point and effective. It would be amazing. Can you believe that I used to be one of those persons that I would rather die from thirst than asking for a glass of water? If I had to say something, I would hear only my heart beating and it would become all kind of colors and so shy. Was that me? Or was that a problem coming from an unbalance? So we can all learn to talk. And this is a preaching movement. We need to learn to talk. And if we feel shy, it's not because we are so humble that, I'm not able, I'm not qualified. Actually, there is a problem inside our energy and we are not having the courage to bring out the message of the holy name of Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya. So we need to learn to talk properly and in a way that it can penetrate people and have a change, a transformation in people's heart. Something really horrible that happens when a leader especially has the throat chakra in excess is that they are super capable of demotivating people. Oh, you want to do this project? I think it's not really a good idea, Did you think about the bureaucracy behind it? The law, and you need to take all the permissions, and how many people fail doing that? And wait, and are you even capable of doing that? How many times did you fail doing this project? No, I don't really think you are the best person, but if you really want to try, then go for it. It's thank you, Prabhu, I really am excited, to do the project. And then, if you say oh, you really didn't want me to do the project, and they're no, I said you should do it. And it's hey, there's something not working properly. So what is the problem is that the person is thinking that he or she is saying something, but they're actually saying something else. This leads to misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? Yes? Communities, all the problems are coming from misunderstanding. We are talking something and the person is understanding something else. Or we are saying something and the person is not listening. He's already having his ideas of what it means and what he should reply to. And if the person has a defect in communication, what they would do is to stay quiet. They don't talk. They are shy. Or they say, what's the purpose of me talking? Anyways, I can't express myself. Or anyways, they don't listen. Or these are people also who try to talk but they kind of mumble. Or they say something but in the end, they start and they don't finish the sentence properly. So there is fear of talking. Their fear of actually saying, hey, can I talk to you about something? I would like to say this thing. It's holding me inside and I feel it's not good for me. So it's so important to talk rather than bursting and eruptions and all that. So in a community, if we were free to be able to talk properly means that we are actually opening up in the right way. We are not like saying, yeah, you are so bad, you did this. It's talking in a gentle, humble way. And scriptures are giving us all the trainings of every single thing that I'm talking about. You can actually see in the scriptures, like, they are telling us what to do. But we see that also we are reading about it, but we are not doing it. Because, like, these energies are so, it's like we are identifying with these energies. Prabhupada is saying, like, don't identify with the body nor with the mind. But we are. We think, I'm a shy person. Oh, I tend to keep quiet. But no, we are not. Why do we identify with that? It's not. So, what happens also with the fifth, in defect especially, is fear of judgment. Have you ever seen that people do something only to please others so that they can think that I am like that? And they're like, oh Prabhu, like I'm such a good devotee, and they act like a good devotee, and they go out in the modern society and they're like, oh yeah, the devotees, I'm a cool guy, and then they go back to this place and then change again personality. And it's like, hey, didn't I see at the temple like Hare Krishna, and now you are like, this is like not part of my life? Why do people do that? Why this fakeness, if that word exists in English? Why? It's because they have a problem of keeping masks. They are fearful of what other people think about them. So they try to act in a way to please people. And to see, like, who am I actually? And, like, what should I do so that people can actually, like, evaluate me? It becomes very problematic when all these things are on a leader. Because a leader is someone who has a highlight. And all the highlights will be going towards the whole community. The energy of the leading person is actually leading the community. And this is really problematic. Because if we have high, effective, powerful, balanced leaders, this will affect the whole community. But if the leader has issues, what will happen? For instance, the leader is like authoritative. He's demanding. He's not listening. But he has a very good heart. And he's like super open and sacrificing himself a lot. So I'm talking about third in excess, fourth in excess, and fifth in excess. So what happened to the community? I go and talk to the person, and he's demotivating me. My self-esteem is lowering. So my third chakra is going in unbalance per defect. He shuts me off. So my fifth chakra is going out of balance in defect. And his heart is very open, and so he's pushing me to do the same. So my heart chakra goes in excess. So what is happening to me? I'm going out of balance. That's the reason why it's so important for a leader to be balanced, because he will affect the whole community. And the community is, although made out of members, so if most of the members are actually balanced, we could somehow rather help. But the leader has to do the work as well. And sometimes, but he goes to Mangalarti every day, he reads scriptures, he does amazing lectures, he has a lot of success in preaching, so why does he still have all these unbalances? Maybe the process doesn't work. Or he's doing everything for ego. He's doing everything just to show. He's not doing that for Krishna, to please Krishna, to fall in love with Krishna. He's doing that so that everyone can think in a certain way about him. So it's actually, the practice is increasing the ego, not going down. So that's why we see sometimes leaders 30 years, 40, 50 years in the movement, and you're like, what's going on? Like, doesn't this person should be supposed to be balanced? So the problem is, like, if we are losing trust in the process, the problem is ours. That means we have a very narrow-minded understanding of what is happening. Because it's not because someone is a leader, he has to be pure. It's not like that. But the process works, and we have to trust in that, even if some people don't give us that same example. Sixth chakra. I'm not giving you names, I'm not giving you technical things, because we will never be able to do that. Normally I talk about this in 7 days retreat, chakra retreat. So I'm trying to condense every single thing in 1 hour. because actually there is reasons for every chakra to go out of balance, and there are physical issues related with each chakras. So if you have any kind of pain, just know it's coming from an unbalance of a chakra. If you want to fix that pain, you could actually directly work on the energy level and fix that problem. So with chakras, we are working on so many different layers, on all layers. So we are working on the physical, on the mental, on the emotional, and it's amazing. Sixth chakra. When it's in excess, it leads to too much thinking. I don't know if you ever had experience of that. And you know what a person with excess would be doing often? I show it to you. It's something you might know. It's this. Phone all the time. Phone. Like it says, like the screen. The screen is such a toxic thing for our sixth chakra because it's bringing our thoughts into a frequency where it's too much thinking. So how is our japa going to be when we have our sixth chakra in excess? Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and the mind is just like wandering. It's like we could make a movie out of like what is happening in our mind. And with this excess of energy, there is a loss of concentration. Anyone now that I'm talking has been thinking of so many other things while I have been talking? Yes? It's like, oh, no, wait. Oh, she's already talking about the sixth chakra. What about the last three, So the mind is really hard. Sometimes we are in an amazing lecture and we are thinking like, this is amazing and we want to be focused, but we can't be focused. Our mind keeps going away. Why? Because of the sixth chakra out of balance. And also, there is a lack of memory. Of course, because there is too many information at once, so we are like holding difficulty to like condense a concept and have the memory. We are also having difficulty to sleep, and sounds and lights could give us disturbance. So these are people who could have difficulty to sleep, and because there is too much activity in the mind. And of course, how do they wake up in the morning? Tired. Actually, it's interesting because you can understand the imbalances of a person on how they walk, how they talk, and how do they do things. And in my case, I can understand the imbalances of people also how they practice yoga. It's so interesting. We just have to look, and we can see the energy of the person, like where it's stagnant, and you will understand where is the problem. And of course, there are techniques that we do practice to understand what is the imbalances of a person. So we can actually check exactly what the person has unbalanced, excess, defect, both of them together. And it's really interesting because people who never saw us, they come to us and then we give them the description of all this and they're like, oh my God, how do you know all these things about me? And this is just energy. It's nothing mystical. It's just like understanding like energy and like being able to capture it and like it's explaining it. It's actually really easy. So what happens with the sixth chakra in excess is it makes our spiritual life really hard. Like too much thinking and too much interpretation. That means, have you ever seen someone is like, oh, it's 11:11. Amazing. Yesterday when I saw the clock, it was 12:12. And the other day, I saw it was 10:10. There must be some meaning behind all this. And maybe there was no meaning at all. Oh, he said this while the pen fell down and then he paid obeisances. That means that, and you're like, what? How did you come up with that? So this is like over-interpreting something. It's going beyond. And they think they have an amazing intuition. Let's say the 16th defect. 16th defect is what makes us very fall asleep during the class. It's like really hard, like the eyes, it's like really going down, it's like closing. And if you notice that, it happens when actually we stay a long time on the phone, on the screen. How do we feel after? Have you ever tried chanting after staying on the phone for 1 hour? horrible, really bad. And but chanting while being on the phone is even better. Yeah. I'm amazed actually. I see that even in the temple room. I'm like, these people don't even have like the fear of judgment of others that, like they just like do it. And I also do it sometimes. Yes, I'm guilty of that. But I experimented on me as well, and I see it. It's like, oh my God, this is like so bad. Like how much it affects our spiritual life just by changing the energy that we have inside. So the energy here is very dull. And it gives, like, if you think about your future, it's like, how do you see your future? Clouds, gray, confusion. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. But it's so important to actually have a project. As leaders especially, we have to have like a goal. Otherwise, how are we going to make the steps towards that goal? It's really hard. So we have to know, we have to be open-minded here to be able to like, okay, that's the goal, and these are the steps, and that's how I'm going to achieve it. If we are having a preaching project or any temple, and the mind is just so dull, what happens to the project? It becomes stagnant. There is no vision. And there is no steps to take that vision forward. It also brings to mental tiredness, which is different from physical tiredness, which was on the third chakra. And the mental tiredness is like, oh, I have to do this, and this. It's like, oh my God, I don't know, maybe tomorrow. Huh? It's like, oh, Prabhu, you have to do this, and that. It's like, oh my God, that's so hard. Tomorrow. Postponing. And it's like the mind is not supporting us in our service. And the community members, like everything becomes slow, really slow. So imagine like the community members and leaders having like this amazing vision opening. Everything would be so different. And also, I don't know if I'm going too much over the topic here, but having the sixth chakra empowered, you can actually see the things that are written in the scriptures. Krishna is not a concept. You can actually look at the deities and be able to like see what is there. Because the vision is opening, you can actually have more faith. It's very interesting because one person was struggling with faith and was telling me about this, and there was a kirtan. So I closed my eyes and I fixed the sixth chakra of this person. The person comes to me after the kirtan, and of course I didn't say anything. And the person tells me like, oh my God, I have to tell you something. In the kirtan, suddenly like something happened to me, and I was, like I really felt like I was in the spiritual world, and this happened and that happened and this happened. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. Because it opens your vision. And if we see our acharyas, they are meditating. They're not just like, chanting, they're like meditating. They are like visualizing. So visualization is so important in our tradition, but we can do that only if our sixth chakra is balanced. And it can reach us, make us reach such amazing targets in our spiritual practice. Imagine a leader who has that vision, who wants to share that vision to the community. It would be amazing. It would be like really like leading people to like loving Krishna and committing, because love is the element that helps us to connect and commit to Krishna more than anything else.
How to rectify these chakras?
That's a very good question. Let's finish the seventh. Quickly, because we need to rectify it as well. This is the question that people will be like, and now how do we fix it? And normally I tell them this is for the next session. So I let them.
What are you able to do now?
I let them be hungry. You know that when we are hungry, we can actually digest better the information, but we don't have that. So let's try that. The seventh chakra is the most important. If the seventh chakra is out of balance, it's a mess. Because seventh chakra out of balance leads to craziness. It leads to a total disconnection from the body. Let me make a little jump back to the second chakra. I do want to say this. You know the amazing concept that we are not this body? Yes? People who have second chakra out of balance per defect, they think they realize that. But the problem is that they're actually disconnected from their body and from their feelings and from their emotions. They feel like they're not in the body. Why? Because they actually suppressed the emotions, they stopped it. It's not a state of advancement. It's a state of unbalance of the second chakra defect. For me, it was an amazing. When I joined Krishna consciousness, I was like, oh yeah, I realize this. I'm not the body. I know that. I could totally feel that. And then I realized that I was like unbalanced. I had to first reach the balance and then start to try to understand that I'm not the body. Very interesting. Please think about it. Very often we're like, oh, I want to be a brahmachari. You know, no. It's like, do I really want to be a brahmachari because I reached that level, or because I'm like actually repressing something because I don't want to feel? Is it coming from a second chakra out of balance per defect, or is it coming from balance? And very interesting, the color of the second chakra is orange. Very interesting. Anyways, let's not get into that. So, seventh chakra. Seventh chakra brings in wisdom. It brings in mercy. If a person has unbalance, they don't get the wisdom, they don't get the mercy. It's really hard. And it can also lead to extreme fanaticism. And a leader who has this problem can ruin completely the community. We have to get that leader either fixed or out of the leading position. It's that extreme. Because these people can really be like very, very, very extreme. So, I will stop the presentation of the chakras here, but now we will talk about how to fix it. How do you feel about that? There are many, many techniques, and in these 7, days chakra retreat, which I do in Italian normally, maybe we can think of doing it in English as well. Normally I do all the different techniques to fix a chakra up to really fixing it. But fixing chakras is something actually we do quite on a daily basis, because it's not something, oh, I did it once. It's like chanting japa. Oh, I did it once, in 2003. Now I should be purified. It's like, no, that's something you do every day. It's like brushing your teeth. You do it every day because we are getting dirty every day. So it's a practice like we do every day. Yes, Prabhu.
You're relating all problems to chakras. You could see, that was reflected in scriptures and that was being emphasized by Acharya. Generally, we say that you chant and all your consciousness is purified, and then your consciousness is so high that you're not affected by Prabhupada related that to consciousness and like 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Dhyana Yoga is also mentioned. Prabhupada will chant, focus on the chanting holy names.
Yes.
So how do you?
I totally agree with that. The chanting of the holy name. Prabhupada said in the Maha Mantra there are all the mantras included. And I was thinking like, is that true? I was like, let me try that. I hope I wasn't offensive with that. But I was like, let me just try it if it's true. I tried actually with the Maha Mantra trying to fix my chakras, and it works. It's amazing. And actually with the Maha Mantra you can do anything. And of course we don't want to use the Maha Mantra for material purposes. We want to actually, really take shelter and surrender and all that. But with the Maha Mantra and with the practice that Prabhupada gave us is perfection. We can attain that if we chant it properly. But sometimes, imagine you have a tooth pain. You're chanting. Where is your attention? Is it on the chanting or on the tooth pain? Of course, if you were totally transcendental, you would be focusing on the holy name, even if you had a broken arm or, cramps in the belly. But if you don't have that awareness, you have to have some techniques that will help you to cure first and then to be able to chant better. So it's kind of like, Prabhupada said, health comes first. There is a reason why he says that. Because if we don't have the health, because we are, contaminated by illusion, we will keep going towards that problem. So the Maha Mantra is absolutely perfect, but are we as perfect to be able to get that? Maybe not. Maybe we need a little bit of something. You know, Bhaktivinoda Thakur as well was advising to do pranayama before chanting. And this is one of the acharyas. And he made also like beautiful book on Ashtanga Yoga. You know, like he's talking about it. You know, he's helping us to understand it. And sometimes it's some process that people would need to be able to do better the other one. But we never take out of the holy name. That's misleading, totally. So how do we fix it? So the way, there are many ways, but I would like to teach you something really quick and really effective. No? How about that? How about fixing a chakra in 3 minutes? Hare Krishna. So, 3 minutes to fix a chakra, but if you are really good, you can do it in 1 minute. But if you really practice your mind, you can do it in a second. Yes? Our mind is so powerful. It's amazing, unbelievable. We can actually do that. So, let's see. But I'm going to write it, but I also want to explain it. So, first chakra, the mantra. We will be using mantras, okay, to fix it. And why are we using mantras? Is because I know that you know a lot about mantra, but please let me give that introduction. What did I say about the self, okay? When we have, you know, like the atom. So we have the nucleus, and then we have the positive and energy and the negative. Many of you weren't here when I was saying that. So they're actually turning in a certain way. So when situations of life happen, like my temple president is like screaming at me and he's demanding things from me. So there is like too much energy, okay? So this energy is actually affecting it, and this is turning more fast. And this is on the level of the atom. And how many do we have in the body? Okay, so many. So because this is going too much, the vibration, the oscillation that is coming is like fast. Or it completely blocks it and it becomes like very slow. So it's creating a pattern of personality development, or let's call it anarthas. So we want to actually fix this. But how do we fix this? We need to fix this from the very center. How do we do that? With vibration. I use this for preaching with my students, and people are just like, oh my God, I need to chant the holy name, you know. It's such like a powerful thing, because by chanting the mantra, you can actually, by vibrating a certain type of frequency, you go directly into the cell, and this is going to come out in a different way. It's going to come out in a balanced way. But every energy center has a specific energy. That means every energy center has a specific sound vibration. Okay? So if we chant a sound vibration in a certain way, then it will lead to a certain effect. If I tell you, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, if you can feel like, you know, there is a certain energy. Or if I say like, you are an amazing person, you are an amazing person, you are an amazing person, it's different. Okay? So the vibration leads to a consequence. Now, let's see what happens with the first chakra. The first chakra is, the location of this would be in the perineum, or lower coccyx, I don't know if it's written like that, okay? And if you don't know what is a perineum, which might be the case, it's just the part in between the anus and the genital, in the middle, okay? It's just like a foundation basis. But the place that we will be like focusing on is the feet. This is where we will be putting our hands, because the hands will be going in different parts. So the mantra of the first chakra will be Lam. Have you ever heard about it? So Lam, and there will be also another element we will be using, not only the mantra, but the other, what is the other element which is so powerful that if we just think about, like, how do we reach this? How can we reach this, the center? We can reach it with the mind. If I close my eyes and I think I am in New York in the Bhakti Center in front of Radha Muralidhar, I can actually be there. I can actually have the feelings of being there. So if I use my mind, first of all the intention, and to go there with the color that corresponds to the chakra, then I can actually fix it. So what happens is the first chakra, it will be red. How do I fix it? Maybe we will do the third, because we are talking about the leadership, and we will practice the third chakra, okay? But the second chakra will be in the lower abdomen. Lower abdomen is just below the belly button, okay? And this will be VAM, V-A-M, and the color is orange. If you don't, okay, after I tell you. Third chakra, it's in the solar plexus. Solar plexus is above the belly button, here. Sometimes, we don't digest and it's like, stuck here. That's the solar plexus. And the mantra is Ram. And the color is yellow. I love to do this practice by visualizing, the different things of our tradition, like Krishna's like garments, or tulasi, or like the color of the saffron, or whatever, Like you can actually use it to meditate in different ways. But I will explain to you better. Fourth is in the center of the chest, and it's this way, okay? It's like where the thymus gland is. Chest. And this will be Yam. The color, green. I was smiling because one day I was doing the Yam practice many years ago, and then my child came with some food and he put it next to me and was like, "Mom, here." And I'm like, I'm not hungry. He's like, "Yes, Mom, you are hungry." I'm like, "No, I'm not hungry." And he's like, "Yes, Mom, you are saying yum, yum, yum." I'm like, okay, thank you. But it's true, we are hungry in the heart. We're hungry for love, and more we are hungry for love, and more we can fall in love with Krishna and the process, and we can really take it out properly. We have to be hungry. And the fifth chakra is on the throat, and it's light blue. And the mantra is Hum. Just know that very often if we have throat ache, cough, we are like, "Oh yeah, because I took a cold," or because there was wind. Trust me, every single problem we have is coming from an unbalance. We don't get sick if we are balanced. There are some other things that we could get affected even if our chakras are balanced, but we will not talk about that today. So sixth is the forehead. Yes? And the mantra is Om, and the color is purple. Or we can call it violet. I don't know, as you like. The seventh chakra is on the top of the head in the fountain. They call it, the fountain? Like the thing, yeah. Head. And it's white. And it doesn't have a mantra. So which mantra could we use? Yes! I make all my students chant the Maha Mantra, and they love to do it, Imagine, even for preaching wise, you can actually teach people to fix their chakras with the holy name, and they start chanting the holy name, and then they really get attached to the holy name, and then they start the practice. So here we use the Maha Mantra. How to do it? 4 minutes. Okay, let's do the third chakra. Can you please close this? So I'll teach you how to do this. So in order to chant the mantra, we will be putting the hands on it, on the place, and we will soon do the third chakra. We will be chanting the mantra. Yes.
So problems and the solutions in this scripture.
Sorry?
problems and the solutions in which scriptures it is mentioned in this model.
What is the reference is asking?
What are the references
In the scriptures.
in the scriptures?
In scripture it is.
About this, you would need to go to different kind of scriptures. These mantras are called tantric bija mantras. You also have the Vedic bija mantras, and these are the tantric bija mantras. And in the yoga scriptures, you can find these things. But if you want exactly I'm not the kind of person who would be quoting scriptures, sarvadharma parityaja and all those things. I cannot. I'm not capable. Yes, Prabhu.
Regarding the question of this, probably this is all coming from Yoga Vasishtha.
Yes.
And another more thing I would like to add, if you permit me. The first chakra, there is another mantra for that is clean. And if you get Gayatri mantra, the Bija mantra is clean. And I have read also about this little bit. If the first chakra is balanced, most of the problems are solved. So by chanting Gayatri mantra, if the Bija mantra is clean, most of the problems are solved.
In Gayatri mantra, we have the Vedic mantras, with the Vedic bija mantras in it. Bu, Om, Bu, Bhuva, Swaha, Mahajan, all these. And they are actually related with the different chakras, not only the first chakra.
No, I was telling about the clean. The Bija
Yes,
mantra is related
yes,
to the first.
yes. So let's see how to do this. So we will be putting the hand according to where I wrote you this part. We will be chanting the mantra, and the mantra can be chanted. I would suggest you to do it loud voice, and it will be long or it can be short and with a rhythm. So for instance, if we are doing lam, it can be like lam, and we will be visualizing the mantra going in the place. And not only that, we have to visualize the color. If we don't visualize the color, it will take us so much more time. Trust me. You can try. So we want to make it really quick because we want to chant the holy name of the Lord. So because we want to chant the holy name of the Lord, we want to do this as quick as possible, and in order to move on to what we actually want to do. So then the second chakra, we will be putting the hand here, or we can do it loud, quicker. It can be like vam, 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 vam. And like that, we can continue. So how long do we do that for? First of all, I said 3 minutes. Or it can be 1 minute, or it can be a second if your mind is trained for that. It's really related with that type. So that is the same for everyone else. So the third chakra will be here, the fourth chakra will be here, the fifth chakra will be here, okay, throat. Sixth chakra will be on the forehead, or we can put also the hands, on the, like this. Or the seventh chakra here, okay? So, also, you don't have to put the hands, it's just easier with the hands. Should we fix the third?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just a quick question.
Yes.
We know that all mantras are contained in the Maha Mantra.
Yes.
What effect would we just say the Maha Mantra instead of these ones?
Yes, of course. It works. It works, but the question is, do your 16 rounds and then you can do more Maha Mantra doing this. I wouldn't add this within the 16 rounds that we were supposed to do. Because we are using the Maha Mantra for like a health kind of purpose. I mean, in one sense, we are using it to improve our service, our community, our leading positions, and it could be useful. But we should be careful to not then divert to this other part. Yes? Yes.
The colors, I just was thinking about the rainbows, Vibji, or red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet.
Yes.
So, is that...
Yes. So, according to different traditions, we will have different colors. These are the colors that work better. And I would say that actually there is so much more into it. For instance, my first chakra could be green. Yours could be white. Normally, a sannyasi should be having the colors of the chakras all white. Why? Because they are all related with the spirituality. Do we have to stop? Is someone else coming, right? Yes, yes. Yes. Yes, I'm so sorry, but... more.
That's you take 2 more minutes and we'll finish.
Yes, okay. Yes.
Oh, very good.
ಈ ಚಕ್ರಸಾರ
Oh,
completely Maya Dhyana Yoga and Raja Yoga. In Patanjali Yoga Sutra says every chakra has some demigod has, but after siddhis is also kind
You
of
take
Maya
the-
is also kind of.
just
How
take
can
5
we call
minutes.
you system of-
There are siddhis and then?
All are practicing
Demigod.
chakras.
Yes. Yes. I do have to say that when you practice this, you might get some siddhis. It's true. Don't get debated. Keep always the ego very, very low because having siddhis might divert your mind a little bit. But the purpose of this is not to get siddhis, although you might get it. For instance, like your mind really becomes powerful. Like you can fix chakras just by thinking of the person, saying like all his chakras are balanced. In a second, you can fix it. It's possible. So, Narada Muni had like a lot of siddhis, and so many of our saints and bhakti people had mystic siddhis, but we don't want to lose ourselves into that. I am actually telling you this not to get siddhis, but actually to perform better our service as leaders and as community members. Okay, so let's fix our third chakra. So please put your hand, it doesn't matter which hand you want to put, on the solar plexus. We have time.
So we'll take
You can just do that one thing and they will be taking up for the next
Yes.
one.
Okay, so please do it at home. Please try it. Just try it and see how it goes. And you can try if it's too much to do like 3 minutes each, just try 1 minute each. It's like 7 minutes. And then try to chant your japa, and I would love to have your feedback about that. And if you can leave me your contact, and I might be also doing a full conference on chakras that normally it lasts 2-3 hours, which is a little bit more complete. I can send you the video afterwards, and if you have anything, you can write. Okay? Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.